We're looking at constitutional review. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar proposing a single 6-year term as an idea in the ongoing constitutional review. Mr. Yakub, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Shivjori.
Okay.
And good morning to you guys.
Yes.
Can you hear me, sir?
We can hear you.
Thank you very much. Shivjori, I think I totally disagree with former Vice President Abubakar that a president needs 6 years time.
A single 6-year term.
I totally disagree with that.
That he can do what he needs to do in 6 years.
6 years?
That's what he's saying. That's the implication.
President, as your guest rightly said earlier, because a president does not need all the year of this world before the citizen can see where the country is moving to. Let me give you a typical example here. Does it mean that a president needs 6 years before he can be able to sack somebody that was fixing the refinery performance, that our refinery is going to come up this month? After that month, we'll tell you that in the next 3 months it's come up. After that month, we'll tell you another 6 months it's come up. To this month, all the 4 refineries that they were budgeted a huge amount of money for does not come up.
Okay, Mr. Yakub,
yes.
Along the line of your argument, therefore, is that the current system we have, where 4 years is the tenure, in 4 years we should be able to see the color of this president, and if it's not satisfactory, we can get rid of him in that 4 years. We don't need to wait for 6 years. Is that the implication of what you are saying?
Sorry, I get what you are saying. The truth is this. Hello, Shivjori.
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, the truth is this. If we say that, okay, this is 4 years single time, and then if the president performs very well, he has opportunity to go for the other time.
That's right.
Then that one is prerogative for Nigerian citizens to let him allow him to go and vote him out. It is not necessary that you must prolong it to 6 years before we can say, okay, until 6 years before the president can perform. Let me give you another typical example here. Chief Jolly, I'm very, very sure that you are an indigenous of Ogun State. Travel all the way from here to Ogun State. From Sango down to Abeokuta, the road is very bad. From Ablieba down to Sango to Toge, the road is very bad. And then let me shock you. The Lagos State are now starting the rehabilitation of that road, and they plan to put the contact and then put all the necessary things. Then, Chief Jolly, move from the Toge down to Abeokuta. Look at what they are doing there. They do another thing entirely, and then they will budget money for that as well. And then if you compare the two axes, you know that the lack of the leadership is showing. That the other leadership is showing that he really know what he's doing, when the other one is doing the rubbish. Does it mean 6 years to know that you have to do the right thing? And then this money will write to the federal government that they will spend a lot of money on this road. They will call for that money, but then the federal government will pay them when they do the rubbish. Good man and God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. It's an interesting point. So what? I don't know. What Yakub is saying, because he said a lot of things in there, is that look, if he does well, the president in this idea, Atiku Abubakar's idea, if he does well, the way things are at the moment, then he can go forward, ask the mandate of the people to do another term. And if they don't think so, that 4 years is enough. Because what you have said and what others are saying is that you don't need all the time in this world to show your color. So if you know, the country is saved the embarrassment because in 4 years' time. But is that the way it works? You know, is that the actual way in which it works?
As we speak
every president arrives with the intention that I shall be here for 8 years, broken up into 2 terms.
You know, as we speak now, by virtue of Section 135 of the Constitution, it paints the picture the last caller just presented on the table. First term of 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
After that, you go back to the polls.
Mm-hmm.
And if the citizens are persuaded, you are returned. We've had governors who did not return. Donald Trump did not return to White House. He's now trying to return there. So that is the template we have now. And that's why I'm saying, have we established the culture of performance in office? It's important. Or are we just carried away by the luxuries of office? You see, the vice president and respectfully I present this observation, was in the United Nations General Assembly to demand for a permanent seat in the Security Council.
Okay, right now you're talking about this administration.
Exactly. Now. We have the big five there. And to beg for debt forgiveness. Now, the same people who are coming to beg for debt forgiveness, if you see them in New York City, they won't appear like people coming from a poor nation. That is the sincerity I mentioned. The total indebtedness of Nigeria in March 2015 was around 12.12 trillion naira. Today, it's about 121 trillion naira. So who are those responsible for this indebtedness? These are the big questions we are asking. So if you are interested in development, go ahead. They say action speaks louder than voice, sir. You don't invite me to your party, your birthday party, and I'm sitting down there and you are announcing the menu you have and coming to my table, what do you want to eat? After 2 hours, if you don't bring food for me to eat, I will stand up. The money I'm supposed to give you for your birthday, seek for a nearby restaurant, eat very well, drink my soft drink, and go home. And maybe when you phone, I congratulate you again, and I move on in life. That is the point we are talking about. What? And I say the president needs to look at those who are around him. You may have the best of intentions, or your team can frustrate you. And that's why we need a strong system in this country.
In other words, are all your teammates on board with your idea, going back to Lee Kuan Yew, where he was sure?
He had zero tolerance for corruption. He acted it. And that's what we are saying. In this country, we've had ministers alleged to have embezzled billions of naira meant for humanitarian concerns and poverty alleviation. You see? And we just push these things over. I was asking myself, who are these oil thieves? Are they angels from somewhere? Are they not human beings? You know where the illegal refineries are? At a point, Honorable Dela Alake came out to tell us that powerful people are behind illegal mining. Who are these powerful people?
Let's take Callisto calling in from Abuja. Good morning, Callisto. I fear we might have lost Callisto. Justin is trying to connect. So sorry about that. See if you can try to get in again. This goes back again to the intention and the sincerity. It's a simple word. You used it at the very top of the program. Where is the sincerity of purpose? People know things in this country, but there seems to be an attitude of go to the court and go and find proof. Go and find the proof. The lawyers, even the judicial system, the legal system we have in this country, everybody, I think, some will venture, cooperates towards an opaque kind of society based on rule of law, which has many demands. And I think evidence is key, in the midst of all of this. And people know that you're not going to get evidence. So there are some people working hell for leather. There's a very important one, there's a very popular one out there now. I think they're trying to determine whether a certain individual actually served a jail term or not. And people are saying, go and bring the evidence. And
it's what I mentioned about system. When the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was commenting on corruption recently, he also mentioned the judiciary. And I wish the judiciary the best. And he shaded the judiciary as one of the likely forces, not supporting the fight against corruption. And I hope judiciary is watching. And I understand politicians very well. If you are useful, they use you. You see, but you need to defend your profession. Well, that's what I'm saying. We should have a system. Look at the case of Ekweremadu. It's a case, an issue that started in Nigeria.
Yes.
Look at how UK handled it. In fact, I was embarrassed.
Yes.
A former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, writing a letter to the UK.
Yes.
To be sentimental. And UK said, and that maybe perhaps that's why we colonize you.
That one
that we are not going to be sentimental.
That if the matter had been Nigeria-based.
What about the former governor of Delta State, Ibori? Who was jailed for 13 years in the UK. Yes. That's the system we are talking about. So it's not just about talking about corruption and people are looting this country dry.
There's an understanding.
What happened, sir? And you see, I'm addressing the National Assembly. Thank God we are talking about constitutional matter. The former president was constructing railway line to Maradi in the Niger Republic. So what happened after he left? What value has that rail line brought here? I read at the time that NNPC was planning to construct filling stations in Niger Republic to curb smuggling. And I said, what kind of a country is this? And these people are in office. Look at what has happened to NNPC.
Mr. Owe here in Akure, good morning to you, sir.
Hello. Hello, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I'm talking, my contribution is regarding what the former president, Atiku Abubakar, was said to...
Former vice president.
It might sound good, but you see, the reason why we have that 4 years in the Constitution and in other parts of the world where we have it, is that within 4 years, you can do enough damage or you can do enough good that will give the citizens the impression that, okay, let this person continue. For 6 years, continuous damage will be too much. So in the issue of 4 years, it's not as if 8 years that is in the Constitution is automatic. No, it means that after 4 years, then the citizen can vote for you again and say, okay, continue. Then you have 8 years. And if that 8 years is good enough, you can see what happened in Lagos State when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was governor. People can now say, okay, that same party, let them continue. But let me quickly put it this way. Our problem in this country is not really about leadership. It's systemic. It's the system of government. We talk about regionalism. People are afraid of it. Okay, you have something that worked before independence when Chief Obafemi Awolowo was the premier of Western region. We knew what happened. So the regionalism for the people who are against it does not mean that all your state will be cancelled or whatever. What it means is that even the present states are there, can still be there. But it means that every region will be able to develop, and so everybody will not depend on oil. Going to Abuja, cap in hand, to go and beg for, so which makes states lazy. It makes politicians lazy.
Yeah.
It makes people not to look back at their back door. Ekiti State has enough, more than enough resources. There's no state in this country that hasn't got resources, but because we have this wrong federal system of government that does not even comparable with any other state, where do you want to compare it with? When everything was centralized based on the coup, after the coup, 1963, they introduced District 34, which brought all the powers from different parts of the country to the center. That is why we are where we are today. Let every state, even United States, still like that. Okay, the President Tinubu government now is trying to push for state police, which is the solution to our insecurity problem. Some people are still saying, the politician will use it, will not rather be safe and let the politician use it to rig elections than farmers not being able to go to their farms to produce food so that the people can feed, so that our economy will be fixed. Because if we produce enough in this country and we export and we import less, then the value of Naira will improve. Then the prices of products, food, everything will come down. It's a simple economy. You cannot corner economic theory. You cannot double cross. There is a procedure of doing things, of running a country, of running a country, even before the colonial regime. Even when we are still using an ownership system, these are the way things are. It's production.
Thank you very much, Mr. Owoye. Really appreciate your call. Thank you very much, Mr. Owoye. Thank you very much for your call and give us quite a an overview of different aspects of the situation. Yes. Exactly. So I don't know. I haven't heard too many people align with Atiku Abubakar on his proposal. It's there. We can't say we have heard all of the views, but it's a proposal out there. But people, I think just about everyone this morning has called in, and the bottom line is that you don't really need 6 years.
And Uncle Yori, shockingly too, when leadership is perceived not to be doing well, what do you hear? wait for another 4 years.
Yes.
The legitimate instrument you have is to vote. So protest has been demobilized. Complaints have been thrown under the bus. You see, so how are we now going to move forward as a nation? I mean, it's something of concern to us, but I keep saying also that it won't be a bad idea if those in the National Assembly and the houses of assembly in the state sit down, look at our laws, and make a decision that we want to develop.
Let me see if we can get Callistus this time. Good morning, Callistus from Abuja.
Good morning, Kuyori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I want to disagree with some of the earlier callers that education is not important. Education is very, very important for whoever is going to lead us. Then secondly, the Vice President's proposal of 6 years single tenure. I think it is not really important whether a single tenure or double tenure for 4 years. You see, the problem we have is that we need to have a roadmap for all sectors of our economy. When we have a roadmap, any president that comes, any leader that comes, whether from local government to state to federal level, you follow the roadmap no matter the party. But of all this, the most important thing is that leadership recruitment process is very, very important. Somebody said leadership is not a problem. No, I don't agree at all. Leadership is the major problem. Leadership recruitment process is the major problem. If we don't recruit leaders in the proper way, we can never have good leaders. Look at the type of elections we are having. With such elections, even you have a single tenure of 6 years, you have a double tenure of 4 years, there's nothing will happen. No, you cannot have the leaders that we deserve. If we have the leaders that we deserve, if the people elect our leaders, when they don't do well, whether it's 4 years, whether it's 6 years, we'll vote them out.
Yeah.
Both from the local government level, the state level, and the federal level, anybody that doesn't do well, we'll vote the person out.
Yes.
That is the only time we're going to get good leaders. That's the only time we're going to get a good Nigeria. That's the only time we're going to have a good economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Callistus, especially for, trying again after it dropped originally. The whole idea of between 4 years with the option of a further 4 years, and then right side by side with it, Atiku's idea that one single 6-year term. As has been pointed out, there's more to it than that. Although it's good in theory, but maybe if we were to ask ourselves the question, I don't know that it has happened in Nigeria where a person has served for. We're complaining about the quality of leadership. So, which president served a single 4-year term and was voted out at the end of that single 4-year term?
Except for it's controversial. Good luck, Jonathan served part of
exactly.
But his main second term, he couldn't return.
Yes, he couldn't.
Yaradua also could not go the long
exactly.
Haul. But the point we are making is
so these were not voted out; they were circumstances.
Uncle Yori, problem was coming to Egypt, and in Genesis chapter 41, Pharaoh heard about Joseph and invited him to the palace, and the guy gave a beautiful roadmap, and the king made him the prime minister, and he implemented it to the letter. He saved for the nation grains like sand, and prevented the storm that was coming. So it's about action. Look at what Nelson Mandela did.
Yeah, but we're not a theocratic state. You're going back to the Holy Book for your example.
Which of our politicians, which of them doesn't serve a God, whether it's the living God or the traditional one?
Yeah.
In fact, they use all this religion and everything to mobilize votes. And that's why I appreciate those who are speaking about the system. Can you imagine that in China, a minister will just corner billions of naira meant for poverty alleviation?
No, that's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Not in China.
Will it happen in Japan?
No,
let's say this. In the 1950s and 60s, the Asian tigers, talk about Hong Kong, Malaysia, and those nations, they were in the same classroom with Nigeria, with brilliant opportunities to excel. Sir, Africa has about 40% of the total resources in the world. And Africa is just about 1.5 billion in population.
But what are we doing with it?
Exactly.
We're going to have to leave it here. Our time has run out. But, as usual, these are questions. Fortunately, the proposal of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is going to be considered by the committee. I think it is the Deputy Senate President who is the chairman of that particular committee. He's going to consider it. They shall no doubt be having these kind of conversations. Then we look at whether that idea needs to be rested or, indeed, let's look at it and then they will do the necessaries in showing it to the rest of us and let us put our mouth. Because democracy at the end of the day must prevail. Thank you very much, Mr. G.D. Ologun, lawyer and political affairs analyst. Really appreciate you as always.
Thank you,
sir.
Very much. God bless Nigeria.
Indeed.